Right, good afternoon, everyone. So for me to get to know you guys, can everybody pop hi in the chat window? So I'm hoping that everybody knows how to use it. That's how I'm going to be asking questions and hopefully getting your feedback. So yes, adventurers, everybody say hello in the chat window, please.
Oh, we've got hi from Judy, hi from Samuel, and even hi from Pastor Dan. Okay, he cannot stop giving highs. Hola from Samuel. Well, thank you,
Hola.
Samuel.
Hi, Galaxy.
Hello, Galaxy. Joseph,
Hi, Joseph.
as well.
Terrific. Thank you, guys. All right. So hopefully then, as we go throughout the presentation, if I ask questions, you guys should be okay to type away in the chat window. So you can see on the screen, safety specialist. That's the badge we're doing this afternoon. So a little bit about me, if it will click, there we go. So that's me. So I'm a member of Swansea Church. So like Pastor David, I'm also based in Wales. Yay. And that's my little Welsh woggle, if you guys can see that with my dragon. Why am I talking a little bit about safety? Well, it's because in my job, I'm also a fire warden and I was a first aider. I'm not a first aider at the moment. I need to update my certificate, but I am a fire warden. So looking out for hazards and keeping people safe, this is one of the roles that I do at work. And you see that word there, safeguarding. It means quite a lot of different things, but one of the things is about keeping people safe. So as we do the safety stuff, I don't want you guys to get worried or scared that things are going to happen. If we've thought about things and we've made a plan, it's what helps us stay safe. So all positive stuff. So this is the things that we're going to look at this afternoon. So safety rules. I know that sounds really serious, but we'll try and keep it fun. But when you're at home, when you're out and about, you're in different weather and you're meeting people, how can you keep yourselves safe? So this is particularly for young people. Hopefully you guys have done this in school, having a fire drill, knowing what emergency exit plans look like. We'll go through a few of those. And then perhaps this bit is the fun bit about natural disasters. So if you get scared, find somebody you can hold their hand and watch, but we're going to watch a whole bunch of videos. I mean, most of them don't happen in the UK, but maybe it's a bit fun to watch some of those videos. And then we'll finish up with a really quick game. What would you do in this scenario? So starting us off, safety rules at home. So let me ask you guys, you can pop it in the chat window. Can you think of one rule that you have that keeps you safe when you're at home in the house? So maybe it's something your parents tell you to do or tell you not to do. So have a little think, pop it in the chat window. What rules do you have that keeps you safe at home? If you want to unmute and talk, you can talk as well. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. So we've got two options to write something in the chat. So don't open for strangers. Sia has responded already. Mm-hmm. Friends, do you have any other rules that can keep you safe? Don't run in the house. Pastor Clifford is saying.
Is that for you, Pastor Clifford? Does anybody have a rule about like running while you're carrying certain things?
Just to let you know, we have a Latifa who said, "Don't go outside by yourself."
Ah, it's a good one.
Don't play in the fire, Jaden. Yes, thank you, Jaden.
Yeah, don't play with fire. That's a big one. Absolutely. So
also, we have a Michael who just wrote, "Don't go outside without permission," which is very similar to the first one, but I think they're very different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And of course, depending on how old you are, they might, Sam has said, or else.
Don't run while eating chips. That's very, very important.
Absolutely. So we're all familiar with this. We all know that as we're walking around, as we're doing things day to day, there are rules in place that help keep us safe. So these are just a few that I know about, or certainly there were rules in my house. Not playing with matches. One of you guys said about playing with fire. Absolutely. Don't run with scissors. So I think Pastor Cliff has said, don't run while carrying sharp things. Do you guys have that rule about washing your hands before food? Mum would always say, even if we had to wash it in the kitchen before we could have food. This one, yes, there we are. Kids in the chat are like, yes, have to wash our hands. It's important. Don't put toys in your mouth. Maybe that's one for really, really young ones. But I've got a niece and nephew. My niece is nearly 1. My nephew is 5. They're pretty young. But yeah, definitely don't put things in their mouth. How about closing cupboard doors? Did anybody have that rule? If you open a cupboard, you should shut the door afterwards. Anybody have that rule as well?
We did not have it in my house. But maybe
Phyllis said
what
yes.
about you, David? Pastor David?
Oh, no from Sam.
No from Sam, yes.
That's fine. I think particularly for my mum, the upper cupboards. Like if we were sort of opening something high up and then you bump your head on it, it's not very comfortable.
On a Facebook, we have a Macket who said we do have this rule in our house.
Oh no, Sia! Once they opened a cupboard and then hit their own head while they were running. Oh no, this is why the rule is there, so we don't bump our heads.
But Pastor Cliff, there is too much sharing here going on because it seems that they have that rule in his house, but he never obeys it, and his wife tells him off.
There we go. So I think this is a rule for both adults and kids.
It is.
Okay, let's carry on. So our next category then, if it will move on. So safety rules when you're outdoors. So a couple of you have already said how you should ask for permission or don't go outside by yourself. But when you're already outside, what are some rules that help keep you safe? So this could be outside in your front garden. It could be if you're walking around roads and things. What rules help keep you safe when you're outside?
David, you need to repeat the question.
Yes, I'm just reading the answer because Samuel just told us that his sister hid in the cupboard and it kind of
hide and seek,
arrived at the same time. Yes. So what are the rules now, friends, that we have when we are outside? What are the rules that can keep us safe?
All right, we have already some answers, Pastor David, on Facebook. Market is saying, do not throw stones.
Oh, that's a great rule. It's not on my slide. That's a really good one. Yes.
We've also have Sia who said, do not touch a beehive.
Yeah, absolutely. Beehive or a wasp's nest or any kind of, absolutely. Yeah.
What about crossing the street? Are there any rules about that?
Somebody on Facebook, India mentioned, don't talk to strangers.
Yeah.
And Latif said that tell somebody to go outside with you.
Oh, that's a good idea, especially if you're nervous. Felice says, oh, this is a great rule. Don't run on the road. Absolutely. Like, I think we think if we're running, we're going faster and we'll get out of the way.
Also,
but the danger is if you fall,
yes.
Fall.
Also, Primrose mentioned on Facebook saying, watch the traffic lights. Very important.
Absolutely. Oh, I think you guys have covered what I've got. So yes, road safety. So look both ways before you cross the road. Wait for the green man. Absolutely.
And one more, which is actually very good, guys. I do apologize. Usually, I need to say Facebook is really active. So well done, champions. Yes. You are doing so well. Michael said, do not eat anything you are not familiar with, outside.
We're going to come to that. Oh, great answer.
So, yeah, in the chat. Sia also had an accident when he fell on the road and a car almost smashed his head. Wow, I'm really grateful that God saved you and that you are here with us today. Amazing little testimony. But this is just proving us, Lauren, that these rules are here to save us, really.
Right, they're important. So somebody talked about don't just eating what you find outside. Don't eat wild berries. And we'll show a little picture later of real berries versus wild ones. Sometimes it's really hard to tell the difference between what berries you're okay to eat and what case you're not. So yes, if a responsible adult, they know, tells you that they're safe, then you can consider. And of course, strangers. We're going to come to not talking to strangers later. I know a few of you said that, but going on to strangers' property. So yes, don't just wander into somebody's house or somebody's garden, or if you see a fence, maybe don't climb over it if you're playing outside. Just be careful about going on to strangers' property. Ooh, weather. Okay, so these are slightly different, maybe not so much safety rules, but a little bit like how do you stay safe in different types of weather? So this could be sun. There might be something you do when you're out in the sunshine. This could be rain. What do you do if it's raining outside? So have a little think. What do you do to adapt to different types of weather?
So friends, there is a new question again from Lauren. She wants to learn a lot of things from us.
That's right.
So let's give some answers. Run is what Sia says. What should you do to stay safe in different weather? Run. Does it help if you run from the rain or from the sun? Can you actually run away?
Shelter's a good one in different weather types. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Sam! You got ahead of that halfway. We're coming to it, Sam.
We have Latif who says, don't go outside if there is a thunderstorm. Michael said very wisely, wear sun cream.
Yes.
And we have a Market who said, in winter, wear your warm clothes, people.
Yes, layers. I like it. Okay, so having a little look. So yes, sunny weather. You guys have talked about this already. Yes, wearing sun cream, wearing sunscreen, and drinking plenty of water. Do you guys know what it's called? Like sometimes if you're outside and you haven't been drinking enough and then you don't feel very well. Has anybody ever had that before? You can put thumbs up or thumbs down. Sometimes if you don't drink enough water, it can make you feel a bit unwell when you're outside. My friend was wearing shorts. Shorts is fine, but sunscreen if you can. When it's raining, wearing waterproofs. I've said don't run, but just be careful because sometimes the water can make the ground a bit slippery. Sia's talked about hydration. Yes, that's what I mean about drinking plenty of water. And if you don't have enough water, it's dehydration. So yes, good answers. Thank you, guys. Oh, let me click.
We have the same answer as well from Michael. Say dehydration is very important.
Yes.
And then a few other ones, which says Latif says stay indoors if there is a flood.
Oh, you guys are talking about all this stuff. I'm glad you guys know all the answers already. That's why I'm asking all the questions. I think you guys know it. Sam has talked about drinking 1 liter a day. Wow, we're getting health advice. Yes, you should drink plenty of water every day. If any of you've noticed, I've got my glass here. I'm drinking. All right, if it's snowing outside, somebody on Facebook Live said about wearing plenty of layers, wearing warm clothes. Absolutely. Now, that might be a strange one, but I've put wear sunscreen. So has anybody been in a really snowy place and has had to wear sunscreen? Yeah, because, well, maybe you guys know this, but the sun reflects the sunlight. So you can actually get sunburn if you're somewhere covered in snow. So yes, wear sunscreen if it's really snowy. And then windy, this is hard to get a picture of. But yes, if it's really, really windy, and we're going to come to big storms later. But yes, maybe closing windows or doors so they don't slam or rattle. And then, yeah, looking out for objects. I'm sure you guys have seen it when people have put the rubbish out or the recycling bins out, and it's been a bit windy and things blow. Or sometimes even the bins move down the road a little bit if it's been really windy. So yes, things outside, if they're not fixed to the ground, sometimes they can blow and move around in high winds. Okay, so a couple of you have already mentioned a few bits here, but staying safe when you're meeting new people. Indeed, you fly. I believe I can fly. Oh, I wish I could fly as well, Sia. I wish. All right, so Felicitas has said, You don't wear sunscreen, but you don't get sunburn. Well, it's that balance, isn't it? Because a lot of people will have melanin. It's the color in their skin that can help protect you, but you don't want to go overboard and have the sun damage your skin. And sometimes you can't see the damage. It's happening under the surface. So even if you don't get sunburn, it's still recommended to wear a bit of sunscreen, especially if you're out for a long time in the sun.
Lauren, we've got another testimony here that Samuel almost got hurt because of a bin, and he almost nearly died, he said.
No.
So I'm glad that you are all right, Samuel. Praise the Lord for that.
That's right. We're glad you're okay. All right. Last question in this section then. So safety when you're around people. So a few of you have mentioned people before and strangers, but what rules do you have? So you can think about if you meet someone you don't know, or you can think about if you're in crowds and there's lots of people around. What rules do you have to help you stay safe around other people?
Okay. How can we stay safe around people, friends?
Hide.
Yes, says hide. Simple as that. Well done.
Maybe not hide in every situation, especially if someone's looking for you.
Okay, don't talk to them or you'll regret it.
It's a bit scary. We're not quite that scary.
Climb a tree like Zacchaeus.
I like that. If you're in a dangerous situation, yes, recommend try and get out of that situation. But not all strangers are dangerous. But what are some rules to keep us safe? So having a little look. Don't take things from strangers. So this is definitely a bit of advice. If they offer you like a gift, or sometimes they want to give you a lift somewhere, be really careful about that. If you don't know them and a responsible adult hasn't said, you can go with them, then you probably shouldn't. Yeah, be careful what you take from strangers. Don't going off with them. I think you've had this. Don't go off with a stranger if you don't know who they are. There are, I would say, exception cases. So there might be a time, let's say it's a police officer or somebody like a firefighter or something, and they're trying to get you to a safe place. That's different. But if there's somebody you don't know that's inviting you to go for a walk somewhere, don't go away from your family and friends, from the people who know you. Stay with the people you know. Oh, now this is interesting. Know your name, your phone number, and your address. Now, I think lots of you will know your name and your address, but has everybody memorized a phone number? I think a lot of people these days, they have it already saved. Yeah, but it's also important to have a number memorized, because I suppose you could drop your phone, or you might have wandered away from your bag. And if you're away from those things, you might need a number to be able to call someone for help. Another example is if you get lost. Let's say you're in a big shopping center. I know it's a dream. We haven't been in a shopping center for a while. But if you're in a big shopping center and you've lost your family or whoever you were with, it's good to have a phone number, because you can say to the help desk, can you ring this number for me, please? Yes, so Pastor Clifford has given us some advice. Don't tell everyone. Yes. Know the details, but you don't have to go telling everybody that information. Just tell somebody responsible. Yeah, don't share it with everyone. Good, I think. Yes, okay. So that was our first section. So we've talked about safety rules. So as we're at home or outdoors, wherever we are, everybody has a couple of rules that help keep them safe. Oh, I regret it. Oh, poor Sam. we might in an extreme case. So what we're going to talk next is about emergency exit plans. So let me ask you guys, have you ever seen an emergency exit plan? So have you seen it? It kind of looks a little bit like a map. I'm going to ask you if you guys have seen them before. So this is kind of a yes or no type question. Yes, if you've seen them around. No, if you don't think you've ever seen one before. So a couple of yeses, a couple of nos. Yeah, a bit of a mix. We're going to have a look at some of them today. Yeah, a couple more yeses. Thank you, Alex. So, an emergency exit plan. This is a plan if you need to leave a building because there's some kind of emergency. There we go. It makes sense. So why do we need them? To know where to go in an emergency. And what I've said there, it's important for visitors. So so for example, you guys live in your house, you're there every day. If I'm a visitor to your house, I don't know where everything is. So I need some time to work out where everything is. Or it's the same for you guys. If you, for example, you went to a new school, do you know where everything is? Do you know where all the classrooms are? Do you know if an alarm goes off where you need to go? So yes, CEO is talking about teaching them, yes. And one way we can do that is by having these emergency exit plans. And they're quite easy because they're just pictures up on the wall that you can look at and work your way out. So an emergency exit plan is good to communicate to visitors, and we'll come to it later. It's good about language as well. Now, imagine you've come to the UK and you don't read a lot of English yet. You can still follow a picture and see your path around where you need to go. So that's one reason why emergency exit plans are important. And another reason is to find out if we're missing any important information or equipment. So let's say you might be drawing out your emergency exit plan and you find you're missing a sign above a door that tells you it's a fire exit. That's a mixture of words there, Sia. I think you mean like combustion. Oh, Pastor Clifford, stop fast forwarding. We're coming to that. But yes, as we were saying, as you're making your emergency plans, you might find that there are bits of equipment that you're missing. So we talked about signs. If you need a fire extinguisher because you don't have one, if you're drawing a plan, you might be able to get one, or even a fire blanket. Many of you might have or seen fire blankets before in the kitchen, and potentially in churches as well. A lot of churches have fire blankets around their kitchens to sort of help. So that's one of the advantages of having an emergency exit plan, is to work out what equipment you need. So having a look on the screen, so there are 4 signs on the screen. So I want you to have a go. Do you know what those signs mean? So if you're putting it in the chat, put the number and then say what you think the sign means. So
wow.
Have a look. There are 4 signs.
Interesting signs. Let's find out. Number 1, Felicitas says run. Felicitas, can you tell us where to run?
That's right.
Okay, some people
outside the building.
Okay, exit the building. Okay.
Because I did connect it to the actually.
Yeah, where to run. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is a sign number 1 for?
Yeah, so I think we've already got that one. Number 1, I think Samuel says exit. Yes, number 1 would be an emergency exit. So great job. How about number 2? Is it come and make a phone call here? Yeah, thank you, Kay. Yes, fire exit. How about number 2? Call someone if there's a fire. Yes, so it's close.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just to give you guys a little bit of a feedback from the Facebook as well, we have a Latif, Markets, and Primrose, who gave us the right answers as well on number 1.
Terrific.
Number 2, here it is, because it takes about 9 seconds for them to get the feed. Somebody is saying it's for number 2, it's an emergency phone call, or 999, or call fireman, or something like this.
That's right. So you'll see number 2 near an emergency phone. So it might even be a bright red phone, but that's exactly what it's there for. If there's an emergency, particularly a fire, you can use that phone to go straight through to the fire department. So yes, you wouldn't see these everywhere, but you might see it in a large building where there's lots of floors and lots of offices. So yeah, a fire phone or an emergency phone. How about number 3? So you guys have already talked about it with number 1, like fire exit, and then you've asked a question. Oh, Kay Smith in our chat has got it.
Yep.
What's number 3?
and Felix to say stay there or stay together. But I think that this is a little bit more than just stay together. Kay said assembly point or area. And also we have assembly or together from Sia and Samuel.
That's right. Yes, really well done, guys. So yes, if you have to leave the building in an emergency, where do you go? Now, there's a good reason for having an assembly point. Actually, no, I will ask, why? Why do we have a particular place you go to when there's an emergency and you're leaving the building? Why don't you just go home? Or pop over to the shop? Why do you think we have assembly points? This is a tricky one.
It's a very important question to all.
Yeah, we have to stay as a group. That is what Romeo says. Yeah. And then Kay Smith says to give an account of all members. Sia, because there is a phone. Or Felicitas is giving us the answer if there is a fire outside and to stay safe. Sia again said this, and Aku because we have to be careful.
When it comes to Facebook,
yes,
Pastor David, we have Primoz, which says we should stay together. Latif actually says, hey, I don't know, so we'll get an answer. But Makets said that to be counted.
Yes. That's right. So it's a combination of everybody's answers. I think everybody's got it.
That's correct.
Yeah. So yes, one of the parts is to count everybody, that you should stay together as a group. And it's really important so that we know if there's anybody left inside the building. So that's why it's important to stay together as a group. So let's say, for example, you're at school and you've got your class and you've got 20 people in your class. When you leave and you go to the assembly point, your teacher has to make sure they've still got 20 students there. Because if they don't, they need to tell the firefighters, I did have 20, but only 18 are here with me. You might need to find 2 of my students. It's a bit dramatic, but that's why. That's the real reason why. So yes, staying together to make sure everybody is safe, that nobody has gotten lost. But also when the firefighters arrive, the fire wardens and the teachers can tell them, is there anybody that might still be left in the building? So it's worst case scenario. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but that's why. And I don't know if any of you have ever been on, well, maybe not, but on a cruise ship. They practice meeting at the assembly point and you practice lining up in groups to make sure everybody knows what to do. And I'm sure you guys have done this in school as well, had a fire drill. Yeah. All right, last picture then, number 4. What's that? Oh, Sam's got it straight away. He knew I was going to ask the question. Felicitas as well. Okay. I think they all had it typed and they just pressed enter. They knew I was going to ask. So yes, absolutely. You guys all know fire extinguishers. Yes. And you'll know that there are different types of fire extinguishers for different fires. But we're not going to go into all that now. We'd be here for too long. Yes, absolutely. If there's a fire, you can use an extinguisher to help leave the building safely if you need to. Only use it if you've got training, because some of them are a little tricky. Okay, so this is an example of a fire plan for somebody's home. Now, many people won't draw one for their homes, although I do think it's one of your activities in your worksheet later. So you can draw something a little bit like this, where you just draw where your rooms are and then little arrows. And you can see on this emergency plan, there are 2 types of arrows. There's red ones and yellow ones. And you can see red ones is the primary escape path. This is if you're walking and there's nothing blocking where you need to walk to. So if you're in the bedroom, for example, you can just follow those 3 red arrows and you can get out through a door in the living room. But what if you can't walk out? What if there's something blocking your way or you've had to close a door? You can also use the windows. And you can see in the picture, the yellow arrows point to the windows. So they call it the secondary escape route. There's another way, a backup way of getting out. So one of the things I want you guys to have a think about is, in your homes, do you know what's the easiest way to get out? Or if you were in a room and you couldn't open the door, do you know how to exit the room in an emergency? Just a question to ask. And if you don't know, it's worth chatting with your parents. Yeah, make sure you ask. I remember when I was growing up, my mum always said that if we were ever trapped in the bathroom, she'd showed us how to open the window, because from the bathroom, we could get onto the roof of the garage. And she said, if you were there, you start shouting for help from the neighbors. So yes, I remember my mum teaching us about escape plans when we were young.
Lauren, it is good that you have asked that question, because yes, maybe we will have to do this in our homework later, but it is good for our adventurers to speak with their moms and dads, because maybe moms and dads are busy and they didn't even think about what would be the safest way to come out. So we can help our moms and dads to think about how they can safely protect our families elsewhere. So it's good for us to know, but also for our moms and dads.
Yeah, absolutely. And if in a real emergency you ever had to use a window to escape, there's safe ways of being able to get out through a window. You don't just jump. Please don't. We don't want you getting hurt, but there are safe ways. It's all about planning in advance. That's why we're talking about it today, making sure that you've thought about it and you've made a plan.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. If you're lucky enough to have a ladder outside your windows, yes, please. Use the ladder, go out safely. All right, this might be one of the emergency plans you've seen before. So you can see I've given an example of an office one, but you might have seen one of these at your school. And these are the pictures I was saying that's a really good idea to help visitors find their way out. So if I don't know where all the doors are, I don't know where the extinguisher is, or I don't know where the fire exit is, I can look at a picture and use it a bit like a map and find my way out. So maybe there's somebody around that I can ask, but if I'm one of the only people in my room, it means I can just look at the picture and follow the arrows. It makes it easy for visitors particularly. Okay. This is where it gets a little bit fun. We're going to watch some videos. So before we get to the videos, have a quick look at the pictures on the screen. So natural disasters. I think some of you have mentioned them already. What natural disasters are in the pictures on the screen? What do you think we're going to be talking about? So when we say natural disasters, most of them are around weather. But if you can see the pictures on the screen, what disasters do you think are represented by those pictures? Oh, Felicitas has started us off. Tornadoes, yes. Thank you, Sia. Earthquakes.
Volcano, Volcano, yes. Floods, volcanoes, tornadoes from Samuel. Thunderstorm, says Kay. Sia says lake.
It's not quite a lake. If you see in the picture, there's a car in that water. So what do you think it represents? It's not a car in a lake. Thank you, Sia. Yes, flooding.
Also, just to say a couple, we asked the question on Facebook, are they ready for the video? And they're saying, yes, they are. But also, we just want to say, Tiago says, thank you so much for this beautiful explanation, showing the plans of escape. And so Laura, you're doing a great job there. And the answers have started to flying in. As Johan on Facebook, we're expecting to see floods, volcanoes, earthquakes, and a few different things for sure.
Yes, great answers, guys. Yes. Now, I don't want to scare anybody. Don't be scared, kids. Most of these we don't get in the UK. We might get thunder and lightning. We might get some flooding and sometimes like little earthquakes, but we don't usually get these big as they are here, which might mean we don't really know how we keep ourselves safe if we ever travel to somewhere where these things might happen. So what we're going to do for each of these categories, it's not a black hole. What we're going to do for the categories is watch a quick video, and then if it's going to let me do it, so hang on, let me move to the next slide. So sorry, I might be a little bit in and out of the presentation while I put the questions up, or maybe I just read the questions, we'll see. So hang on a second. Okay, so for the hurricanes video, I'm going to ask 3 questions after it. I've put them in the chat window in Zoom. I don't know if there's something we need to do to display it on Facebook Live, or if they can see it in the chat window.
But the questions are, what speed do a tropical storm winds reach before it becomes a hurricane? What is storm surge? And the third question, what can hurricanes do for our ecosystem? So 3 very serious questions, Lauren. I see they are
So I'm sorry, this is the most serious video. The rest of them get a little bit more lighthearted later, but I think, so this was, yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. So we'll play the video. Don't worry if you haven't memorized the questions. If you're paying attention, you should be able to answer those questions after the video. So I've kind of given you a sneak peek of what I'm going to ask.
Cyclone, typhoon, hurricane. All of these names are used around the world to describe the most powerful storm known to man. Hurricanes are unpredictable, but scientists have a thorough understanding of how hurricanes form and sustain their power. In the Atlantic Ocean, hurricane season peaks during the late summer months when tropical waters are the warmest. Hurricanes form from a cluster of thunderstorms that suck up the warm, moist air and move it high into Earth's atmosphere. The warm air is then converted into energy that powers the hurricane's circular winds. These winds spin around a low-pressure center called the eye, which can provide a 20 to 30-mile radius of eerie calm. Encircling it is the eye wall, a towering ring of clouds with some of the fastest wind speeds of the hurricane. Surrounding the eye wall are curved bands of clouds, the rain bands, often tens of miles wide, releasing sheets of rain and sometimes tornadoes. When a tropical storm's winds reach at least 74 miles per hour, it becomes a hurricane. The hurricane then receives a category ranking of 1 to 5 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, based on its wind speed and potential damage. But wind speed isn't always the most dangerous component when hurricanes come near land. It's storm surge. Storm surge is caused when winds from an approaching hurricane push water towards the shoreline up to 20 feet above sea level and can extend 100 miles. 90% of all hurricane deaths are the result of storm surge. While hurricanes can cause mass devastation, just like other natural disasters, they serve a higher purpose within the global ecosystem. Hurricanes help regulate our climate by moving heat energy from the equator to the poles, keeping the Earth's temperature stable. Over time, science has helped us to better understand hurricanes and predict their paths, saving lives through early warning systems and helping us build better infrastructure to protect our cities. The more we study these complex storms, the better we can prepare for them and minimize their impact on human lives.
So yes, like I said, that's the most serious video. They get a little bit lighter after that. All right. And
well, thank you, Kay, for giving us the answer to the first question. 74 miles per hour was the speed that tropical storm needs to reach before it becomes a hurricane.
Yes.
Friends, what about other questions?
Okay, so the next question, storm surge. Did anybody pick that up? Okay. It can, but can you tell what it is? So they were saying how the wind isn't the only thing that gets serious in a hurricane. What does the wind do? What is storm surge? It does something to the water. Yes, thank you, Sia. Yes. So I hope they're on the Facebook Live as well. Yes, storm surge is when the winds from a storm push water from the sea onto the land. Now, it could just be a little bit of water, but as you guys have said, it can cause flooding as well, where it pushes a lot of water onto the land. So yes, especially if it's a big storm. There we are.
He also answered that it happens when the wind sends the water from the sea into the land.
Good answer. Very good answer.
Good, good.
And then the last question, what can they do for us? So I thought this is new for me. What can a hurricane do for our ecosystem or for our climate? Basically, what's one of the benefits or the reasons why we have hurricanes? What does it do for us? Kind of does it for the whole planet.
Lauren, I thought there was nothing good in them, but since there is a little bit of benefits, and Sia just mentioned it keeps our Earth stable.
Oh, it keeps something in particular. There's a specific thing that it does help to keep stable. Ah, there we are, Sia. Yes, it cools down the Earth, says Alex. Sia says heat. Yes. So if you guys know about the equator, the middle that goes all the way around the Earth, and it gets really hot there, sometimes it gets too hot. So yes, a storm like a hurricane or a tornado helps push the heat up to the north, towards the North and the South Pole. It's why sometimes we get a heat wave in the UK. It's when the hot weather from the Mediterranean gets pushed up towards us. Otherwise, we wouldn't get heat waves. I'm just keeping an eye on time. How much time do I have left? Because that might adjust how I go from here.
We do have a couple more minutes, if I'm not mistaken, but Pastor Dan, you can.
Lauren, your time is up, but we love you. So
A couple of
just
minutes.
just take a few more minutes, and you slowly kind of.
Yes, because I think we spent a lot of time discussing the first few, so I've got quite a lot in here left. But what we're going to do, we're going to fast forward, guys, a little bit. But if you guys want links to some of the videos that we're not going to watch, then we can send that afterwards.
Also, you need to know that Judy, who is presenting the Pathfinder, she says you can have a couple of minutes from her presentation as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it took us a while to get going, and I was happy with the interaction. We've taken too long. All right, so staying safe during a hurricane. You can see on the screen things like closing up your windows and doors, and some windows will have storm shutters. So it's an extra layer of protection on the windows and doors. And of course, if you live somewhere where you do have sort of stormy weather, stock up. So keep extra sort of food and bottled water in your homes. And then if it's already happening and it's around you, there'll be emergency announcements. So it used to be more on TV and radio, but you might have them online and things as well. And I think you guys mentioned before when you've talked about stormy weather, about finding shelter. So yes, that's a really important thing if you're caught in a big, serious storm. So there are lots of categories that we're not going to get through. So I'm sorry, I'm going to skip a few. But like I said, with these videos, I can send out the links to them if you want to watch them later. So hang on, I want to get to, actually, yeah, let's get to the important bits. There we go. All right, so to finish up, so actually, no, let's go back. Sorry, I'm going to go back to thunder and lightning because I think that's one that we get over here. So the last bit of, if you like, extreme weather that we're going to talk about is thunder and lightning. So I don't know if you saw the answers as I skipped through. Hopefully you didn't. So lightning, hopefully you guys know what lightning is, but I want you to think, how wide do you think a bolt of lightning is? Do you think it's meters? Do you think it's really small? How wide do you think lightning is? Do you think it's as wide as a pen or a pencil, or you think it's bigger than that? So we know it's quite long because it reaches from the clouds all the way down to the earth. But how wide do you think it is?
Alex has given us the answer. It's 1 foot.
Okay.
Aki says it's large. 5 meters, says Becky.
Yeah.
and then 1 feet from Sia, 600 meters from Curtis, and we go back to 1 foot again.
Yeah.
About 2 or 3 centimeters, say.
K is really close. Absolutely. So they say a lightning bolt is about the width of an adult's thumb. So that's really small for me. Yeah, so we're talking in centimeters, sort of 2 to 3 centimeters is about right. So a lightning bolt is really long, but it's actually not very wide. It just makes a lot of noise, I think, so we think it's bigger. All right, so how much power is in a lightning bolt? So if you got all the energy from a bolt of lightning and you sent it to a light bulb, how long do you think that light bulb would stay lit up? So I've given you a clue there, it's months. So how many months do you think a lightning bolt would keep a light bulb lit up?
Thank you, Samuel. It's 5 months. 3,000 months, says here. Felistus says 2, Eudora 3, Alex 7, and Becky 12 months. Let's find out.
So they say for a really bright, those old-fashioned bulbs can be kept lit for more than 3 months. But these days, a lot of us have LED bulbs, and it's a lot longer for an LED bulb. It possibly could be more than a year. I don't know. I don't have the numbers for LED bulbs. But for the old school bulbs, you could easily light them for more than 3 months, just from one bit of lightning. All right, last question then. Oh, heat. So a lightning bolt can be hotter than the sun, believe it or not, because it's all that energy all of a sudden. How many times hotter? So it's under 10 to give you, it's not a massive number. How many times hotter than the sun do you think it is? Just between 1 and 10. Yep, 7 to 8. 3, 7, 2, 5. Yep, roughly 5. So well done, Sam, who I think got the closest there, or Eudora got 5 as well. So yes, lightning bolts carry a lot of energy in them, but we know that we can stay safe during lightning storms. I've skipped over the slide, but things like staying indoors or finding shelter and sort of staying away from metal and things, I think we know that. All right, finishing up, I know that we've run out of time. So very quick questions then, maybe we'll just do one of them. So the final bit we're doing today is what we call the safety game. So it's a what would you do? So actually, I'm gonna skip to the next slide because I think that's a better question. Right, so the question is, you're outside, you're on a nature walk, and you see some berries. Do you pick them and eat them? So what do you think? So your possible answers are yes, no, or ask for help. All right, you're in a nature walk, you see some berries. Do you eat them or not? Oh, we've got a mixture of answers in the chat window. Some people have said yes, some have said no, some have said ask for help. Yeah, so if you saw these berries, like the one on the screen, Curtis is saying no. If you saw the ones on the screen, the ones on the left, they're grapes, so they're okay. But the ones on the right are poisonous. Don't eat those. So we had this question earlier about staying safe when you're outside. Don't just eat anything that you find. If you know it's safe or an adult has told you, this is about asking for help, but don't just eat anything that you find because not all of them are going to be good for you. Okay, see if you remember about this symbol. It's the last bit. You need to call your parents and you see that sign. Can you use that phone? So yes, no, or ask for help. So let's say you're in school. You need to ring your parents about something. Can you use that phone? Yeah, couple of yeses, couple of nos. Yeah, so I don't know if you remember about this one because we don't have this very often, but this is one of the fire emergency phones. So this is one of the ones that connects you directly to the emergency services. So when you pick up that phone, it's going to ring the police or the firefighters. It's not going to ring your parents. In fact, I don't even know if they have numbers on them for you to dial. Some of them you pick them up and they go straight through. So yes, this one is for an emergency phone. So yes, only use it if you're calling the emergency services. All right, so thank you very much for everybody who took part today. I know that we didn't cover all the weather types, but like I said, I can send you all of the videos. But just to recap what we did look at, because we covered quite a lot. So we looked at staying safe in your area, so in your home, outdoors, with weather. We talked about the fire maps, the drawing a fire or emergency plans. And we looked at a bunch of those symbols and what they mean. And we didn't do all of these, but obviously we had a little bit of a look at hurricanes and we looked at lightning and a little bit about them and what you do to stay safe. This is one of the requirements, but you'll see this one is on your task, your worksheet. So looking out for things that might be a little bit dangerous, and can you do a safety poster to help people keep safe? Oh yeah, there's the poster. And the last bit we did is playing a little bit of the safety game. Yes, no, or I'll ask an adult. If you're not sure of the right answer to keep you safe, please ask someone for help. Don't guess, because like you say, that might run into some problems. You might get into a difficult situation, but there's always an adult around that you can ask for help. Okay. That's me done.
Thank you.